deck, still looking for a good line of sight on the sniper. Seeing the French shooter raise his rifle for another try, Franklin took cover behind a mast, dodging a lead ball that struck a few feet away. Franklin got a good look at the man who wanted to kill him and vowed to remember the French sniper's face as long as he lived. With the seventh shot, the sergeant finally dispatched the sniper, and Franklin watched him plunge headfirst into the sea. Almost a decade after Trafalgar, Franklin was a lieutenant on HMS Bedford when she joined an attack on New Orleans in the third and final year of the War of 1812. The Bedford was tasked to help move some 8,000 British troops ashore for what they expected would be a rout of General and future President Andrew Jackson's outnumbered defenders. He had around 4,500 fighters, a mishmash of Army regulars, Choctaw Indians, freed slaves, and frontiersmen, backed up by French pirate Jean Lafitte. One of Jackson's men, likely among his famed Tennessee sharpshooters, winged Franklin in the shoulder, wounding him slightly. Before seeking command of Erebus and Terror, Franklin had been on 3 Arctic expeditions, 2 of them as commander. He was best known for exploring North America's Arctic coast overland. The first poorly planned mission nearly killed him. The British press heralded Franklin as the man who ate his leather boots to avoid starvation in 1821, at the end of a 3-year expedition that left 11 of 20 men dead, and a whiff of murder, even cannibalism. After such a glorious career in the Navy Franklin had served since he was 14, petty political backstabbing was his undoing. Sir John took a posting as governor of the island colony of Van Diemen's Land in 1836. The penal colony's entrenched family compact, which did whatever was necessary to protect the wealth and privileges that came with access to cheap convict labor, had it in for Sir John and Lady Franklin from the start. They wanted to reform the system, not abolish it, but even tinkering was enough to make very determined enemies. Free settlers running a penal colony, mere masters of a brutal backwater, were nothing next to a man who had accomplished and survived as much as Sir John. But on their turf, in a bureaucratic knife fight, he was vulnerable. Franklin's top official conspired against him. The local press maligned him and took special glee in running down Lady Franklin. On a grueling cross-country expedition with her husband and a few friends in 1842, Jane hiked through brush, waded through marshes and swamps, climbed mountains and forded raging rivers, often getting drenched and pelted by rain, hail, sleet, and snow. She was carried part of the way in a palanquin, a Spartan wooden armchair with a narrow footrest, and 4 metal rings to hold the bearer's poles. 4 prisoners conveyed her in half-hour shifts. The colony was scandalized. The Van Diemen's Land Chronicle accused the governor of paying thrice-convicted felons to join a journey portrayed as a self-indulgent lark. Then came the kicker. The Chronicle claimed the governor rewarded the prisoners with tickets of leave, or a form of parole that could lead to a full pardon. Lord Stanley, the colonial secretary in London, sided with Franklin's political enemies and recalled him. Humiliated, he lobbied hard, with Jane's help, to get back to the place that had made him a hero, the high Arctic. An unshakable sense of betrayal by small men drove Franklin to his death. He took 128 men with him. Jane's gnawing guilt for urging him to go, as much as her love for a man she had admired since long before they married, compelled her to topple any obstacle in a ceaseless struggle to find him, or at least figure out why he died, lost and forsaken in the ice. Portly and bald but for an imperial fringe of unruly hair, Franklin was not the Admiralty's first choice for the 1845 expedition. He struck Sir John Barrow and others in the naval establishment as too old for the job. Franklin complained to his wife that the Earl of Haddington, the top political appointee overseeing the Royal Navy as First Lord of the Admiralty, had confided in Sir James Clark Ross that advancing age wasn't all that worried him about Franklin. The Earl also spoke of "my suffering greatly from cold," Franklin wrote to his wife. With cabinet rank, Lord Haddington was the man through whom politicians expressed their will and, in return, the conduit for the Navy to air its complaints to Parliament. If the Admiralty screwed up, the First Lord could expect to feel the heat. Already severely weakened by his political